And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Well, we are inside almost 1 week now. Tuesday will be 1 week till Eagles report. Wednesday, they'll be on the field. 55 days until the Eagles begin the regular season against the Dallas Cowboys. We've got you covered. What is the key to another Eagles Super Bowl run with an offense that was highly explosive but has some new faces calling the plays? Let's get into that now. For today's edition of Football at 4, Adam Caplan from the Inside the Birds podcast joins me for another edition of Football at 4 on the Sports Bash. Adam, happy Friday, buddy.
Same to you, Mike. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of take a look at this because we've talked about this with our Patreon group. What would it take for the Eagles to make another Super Bowl run? You know, you obviously have questions for training camp. We'll do that another time. But how could they get back to the Super Bowl? What needs to happen? Well, we know that they're only going to have one new starter on offense at right guard, so that's we'll discuss that later. But the big thing, Mike, is now Jalen Hurts will have a sixth play caller as a professional quarterback. Remember, he had Peterson in year one in 2020, Nick Sirianni for around the first half of 21, then Shane Steichen took over to finish that season, and then, as you know, he had 2022. Then after that, he became the head coach of the Colts. 23, Brian Johnson. He was let go. Kellen Moore last season. He's now the Saints head coach. And now, Kevin Patullo, Mike. So we've talked about Patullo a while. What you're looking for to have a smooth transition. We've talked about that. This is Hurts' fifth year with Patullo. Patullo knows him very well. I'm told they have a very good working relationship. He knows the strengths, the weaknesses, and what Jalen likes. And I expect them to have a very good communication. It's the thing that, Mike, we've talked about before is where Nick Sirianni's got to have his hands off of this. I know that Nick's very close to Kevin. This is not a secret. But he's got to let Kevin, who's a first-time play caller, grow in the job. But there's got to be a smooth transition going from Moore to Patullo.
Yeah, that's number one is you take a look at Moore last year to Kevin Patullo. How much freedom did Kellen Moore have? And there is that group of people out there that are wondering now that the relationship between Patullo and Nick is closer. Will Nick feel like he can cross that line? Did Kellen Moore did a good job of kind of giving him the Heisman?
Well, I thought that Kellen did a good job of adjusting from a guy that is a heavy 11 personnel play caller, and then it's probably a lot of 10 if he had a good group of receivers. Like with the Chargers, as I understand it, that Kellen not only did he run a lot of 11. He wanted to run a lot of 10, but that was a season where Keenan Allen unfortunately got hurt. Josh Palmer got hurt, so he didn't have enough receivers. But you adjust to the personnel you have, and Kellen did a really good job. And I've said this before, it's a shame, good for Kellen to become a head coach, but Moore and Hurts really grew late in the season. We've talked about the Pittsburgh game, best game he's had in 2 years. Hurts was phenomenal in that game. You saw the Super Bowl, obviously, where Hurts won the MVP. We saw some good things the final quarter of the season, plus playoffs. But, again, Kevin Patullo now is the play caller.
Yeah, that was the famous. Is that what you all wanted to see? Is that what you guys
were looking for? I love that. Yeah, that was, yeah. What was the – did he say that what was the term that he used? The shackles or the – what did he say? Like, it's some – like the training wheels, whatever he said. He added some funny term, which made me laugh, and I thought it was great.
Yeah. Well, and Jeff and I talked a lot about Jalen on Wednesday's show. If you guys want to go back and listen to that edition of Football at 4. Right now, Adam Caplan's with us. I want to get your thoughts on the right guard spot is the one new spot. What if that is a problem?
Joe Banner told me this. Jeff and I, when we've had him on over the years, we give Joe a little guff about the linebacker position. Joe acknowledged it was a challenge, but he said, listen, you could be just okay at a position and be very good to dominate others. But what he did say is, and I took note of this, it can't be a weakness. Well, we don't know what right guard is. We know that Tyler Steen's a clear favorite. The Eagles clearly want him to win it. Matt Pryor's there, Kenyon Green, who they traded for. He was part of the trade for C.J. Gardner-Johnson going to the Texans. But Steen, not only does he have to win it, it can't be a weakness or a problem. If it's a problem, Mike, talking to coaches over the years, like they look at the guard position, they say, hey, you could hide a guy, but it can't be a problem, Mike. So that's my second key right now for a Super Bowl run. It can't be a problem where it costs too much pressure up the middle in pass protection. or on a zone cut, if it's where Barkley's trying to run, where the play is designed to go to the right, and it's to cut upfield, and Steen gets beat. So whoever's starting there. So that cannot be a problem to sum this up.
Yeah, we know that right guard is up for grabs. We think Steen is the favorite there, but we'll see that competition when we get to training camp. All right, Adam Caplan, we knew a lot of reporting in the offseason about Goddard's future. He is back here. What does that mean for the tight end position now?
You know, it's funny. I remember when we put this information out that they were looking hard to trade Goddard. I'm like, well, let's see what they do. Well, they signed a couple veterans. Kylan Granson, who's an F tight end. That means a move tight end. He's too small. You know, he's under 6'2", but he's an athletic guy who can move. And then Harrison Bryant, who's a two-way tight end who could block and could run after the catch. But neither are projected to be a starter. So what are they going to do? And then, as you know, Mike, as you noted, somehow they brought him back, and that's a good thing. You know, he's on a one-year deal. Goddard took a pay cut of about $5 million, but he's back. And the question is, Mike, now they have 6 other tight ends. What if Goddard gets hurt, Mike? We know how they've, you know, with Jack Stoll, who's no longer on the team, is now with the Saints, and Grant Calcaterra is in the final year of his rookie deal. They were able to sort of Jimmy rig it together, but it's a problem, man. They've got to somehow get through this.
I like Jimmy Riggin getting a mention here on the.
I use that a lot. Yeah, I use that a lot. Yeah, a lot of it, yeah.
Yes, you know, we'll see how that tight end position evolves. Obviously, Goddard is back. But what is around them? We're looking at some keys to another Super Bowl run from the Eagles offense. Can't say the name. You remember, we had Britton Covey on at the Super Bowl back in Vegas, and he had told us he thought they didn't change enough offensively, that teams started to figure them out in that 2023 season that went awry. So can they make some changes here with the new coordinator? And one of the things they're going to need to figure out is what is behind Saquon Barkley. Can't use him as much this year as you did last year, can you?
No, we don't. Well, let's put it this way. It might be a 5-10% reduction. What I've talked about, Mike, consistently since mid-March is if they're up big, 17 points or more in the fourth quarter, start taking Barkley out, put Dillon in. That's A.J. Dillon, who's signed a one-year minimum deal. But here's the problem with Dillon. We don't know what he looks like because he didn't play last season. So what happens, Mike, if he doesn't perform well or he's not on the football team? Well, there are guys out there, Gus Edwards, Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson, Deontay Foreman. There are plenty of power backs. That's not going to be a problem for the Eagles to find somebody. And then Will Shipley is more explosive, but he's not a guy that projects to handle volume carries. So to me, Mike, if Barkley gets hurt, they're going to be more of a passing team. That's to answer your question. That's the way that would look.
Yeah, and that's, they brought in A.J. Dillon as, you mentioned he's got to be a guy that they can count on too, right? I mean, this can't be a situation like the guy Penny that they got from Seattle.
Yeah, it's terrible. Rashad Penny couldn't play anymore, unfortunately. And then, Mike, to finish this out, now, see, Tanner McKee is going to be the 2. That, as we told people in March, despite all the conjecture that Donovan Thompson-Robinson could be the 2, that was total nonsense. Tanner McKee is going to be the 2, but he's got to continue that improvement. He had big improvement from year 1 to year 2. Now it's year 2 to year 3. And then don't forget, Kyle McCord could be replacement for Tanner McKee in a couple of years to be the number 2. That's kind of their thinking, by the way, why they drafted McCord.
Right, and we talked about that the other day, is the possibility that you develop McKee to possibly move him, and then you have McCord step in to that spot. So not a lot of questions on offense. They got pretty much everybody back except for the right guard spot. That will be the one battle there. But will the transition be smooth? Will right guard be a problem? How will they kind of develop that second tight end? Can A.J. Dillon kind of be a factor behind Saquon Barkley, and you need improvement behind Jalen Hurts in the event that he misses a game or two. Remember, he missed time last year. You had to go to Kenny Pickett. Can Tanner McKee win games if needed? There is a look at some of the keys for the offense to make another Super Bowl run. Adam Caplan, Football at 4, here on the Sports Bash Live on a happy hour Friday. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
There you go. We got the Football at 4 keys to a Eagles Super Bowl run for the offense.